Welcome back. Comedian and actor Bob Saget is enjoying a resurgence in his popularity, largely due to his appearance in the movie The Aristocrats. It's not exactly a family flick, but for Saget, the film's earned him a whole new audience. Here's the final segment of our exclusive interview with Bob Saget, conducted by the Standard's Shannon Nelson.
We got to talk a little bit about The Aristocrats, and I'll just tell you a little story. One of my camera guys gave me the movie, and he said, "Oh, you got to see this movie. It's really funny." This is about 3 months ago.
Right.
And I thought it was a Disney movie about kitties. And so I took it home, and I thought, oh, yay, because I'm a real animal lover. I plugged it in, and I have never laughed so hard. It's certainly not a Disney movie.
Mm-hmm.
But it was, you know, just a brief little, I heard it was like 40 minutes in your life. But, man, did it ever turn things around.
Yeah, people were, it was very interesting. And I didn't even think it was going to go anywhere, you know? And it's very, Penn Jillette and Paul Provenza, old friends of mine. Paul, I auditioned for when I was 19 at University of Pennsylvania.
Yeah.
And they went out and shot a ton of comedians, and, you know, George Carlin is the I guess the Obi-Wan Kenobi of the movie.
Yeah.
And Think Film distributed it, and it just made a mark. It's a piece of art.
Yeah.
It really is a piece of art. It, you know, it's jazz. It's filthy jazz. And it's not always filthy. That's the interesting part.
No.
You know, Chris Rock and Don Rickles and the Smothers Brothers, they're not there to do the R-rated version or the X-rated or NC-17, whatever the heck it was.
Yeah.
But I notice I said heck.
Yeah, good for you.
I'm doing what I can.
Yeah, no,
you gotta
I see
help
that.
both. You gotta choose your medium.
Well, let me ask you this, because I know you've got 3 daughters.
Mm-hmm.
Did they see it?
Yeah. My oldest daughter, who's now 20, texted me as she's going in to see The Aristocrats in Santa Monica a year and a half, 2 years ago, and goes, "Daddy, I'm going into the theater." I'm like, "Please don't. Gotta go. There's 600 people. It's sold out. Love you." I'm like, this is a nightmare. It's everything I don't want. My 17-year-old was 15.
Uh-huh.
I believe that that's too young. I just do. And it's my own daughter, and the movie's about what it's about.
Yeah.
And she's like, "Yeah, I saw it." I'm like, "What?" The youngest one has not seen it. I'm positive.
How old is she now?
She is now 15, but
Yeah.
almost 15.
Mm-hmm. It's funny, when you were telling that joke, you were at the time of telling it seemingly apologetic, even in the moment.
I'm even apologetic in my stand-up. Not as much, because that's the stand-up is kind of a, you know, it's like what happens in Canada stays in Canada.
Yeah,
you
right.
don't talk about it.
Yeah, I'm not sure that's the case.
No, but wherever my audience is.
Yeah.
But I was very scared to open up that side of, I mean, it's really a gross joke. And it's the kind of joke you really only tell behind a trash bin. And it has no punchline. The punchline is, aren't we classy? What's interesting about it, the reason I think the joke is interesting at all, is not because it's so filthy, but it's because it's about the desperation to be in show business.
Yeah.
What will people do? That's the joke.
Yeah.
What will people do to get in show business? Well, these people, look what they did.
So who is your audience now? I know my son is, and in fact, if my other 2 kids were around and knew I was interviewing them today, they'd all be, you know, hiding underneath my chair.
It's I guess, there are people that say I'm blessed, you know. Mm-hmm. Sometimes you're going to a bar late at night, and the owner of the bar will go, "I'm blessed," and he's just telling you that he's incredibly in pain. But,
yeah.
But I've got a college audience, which is kind of when I was in college, I would go see, you know, I saw Bill Cosby and George Carlin, and those are the people that I would just look at, and Robert Klein, and I would go, "I can't believe that I'm seeing these guys, and I'm in college." And I'm out there doing really nice theaters that I've always wanted. I call it the chandelier circuit,
yeah.
Which is kind of like me, you know, it's like a joke when you hear the kind of material that I'm doing.
I've heard some of you say, but Danny Tanner was not gay. Tell me why. They lived in San Francisco.
And selling out.
Selling out, and it's such a giant compliment. And then I see Bob Newhart's on the bill, who's one of my favorite comedians on the earth.
Yeah.
And he's not on the bill with me.
No,
that would be a rough show.
I read a funny story that you told about sitting around and having a visit with Bob Newhart and, was it Don Rickles and their wives?
Don Rickles, who's a friend, and I was I did some show on CBS that I hosted, and John Stamos was on the show, and then we went to Dean Martin's
Wife's
widow's,
home.
Jeannie's house, and we sat at dinner with the Rickles and the Newharts, and there was one glass of wine that Don took from John, and then his wife Barbara took it from him because she didn't want him to have it. It got passed to the entire table, and everyone was just taking a sip. It was very sad. But they were telling us, Bob Newhart and Don Rickles were telling us their traveling stories, just like they used to tell on Johnny Carson when I would just sit there watching The Tonight Show when I was 15.
Yeah.
And I couldn't be happier, and Don Rickles is a friend of mine.
Yeah.
I mean, it's, you know.
You travel in some pretty Tony circles.
It's pretty damn cool. You know, and those are people that make me laugh and love making an audience laugh.
Yeah.
Bob Newhart, if we just sitting and looking at his face and how he reacts to things, it's brilliance, you know. And Don Rickles is one of the funniest people ever born. They both are.
And people say that about you too, Bob.
Well, I don't know who they are, but I want to write to them.
Well,
and
my
thank
son
them.
says.
Well, it's this new, it's a college audience, and then there's 9-year-olds discovering Full House now.
Oh yeah,
There's
still a big thing.
3-year-olds
It airs on
watching
our station every night, 5:30.
And then, you know, then there's, you know, I did a thing on Entourage, and it was just a short guest appearance, but it made an impression with people. So the college kids went, oh, that's how Saget rolls. He's wearing a robe and hangs out with, you know, hookers and smokes a cigar and a bong. And that's not me. I don't live like that.
I think I've got a pretty good picture here of the real Bob Saget, not Danny Tanner.
Well, you brought it out in me.
Yeah. Well, thank you very much for sitting down with us. It's been great.
It's my honor. Thank you for having me.
Bob Saget's website is thebobsaget.com. I'll be right back.